Chapter 1. Maryam A.S.'s lonely journey. Maryam A.S. was a woman of pure heart, chosen and blessed since childhood, who spent her entire life immersed in the worship and remembrance of her Lord. There was a divine light in her being, a gentle tranquility in her soul, the kind that only those receive whom Allah surrounds with His special mercy. She was the living image of innocence, modesty, and purity. She had no attachment to the noise of the world, no interest in its distractions. Her heart found peace only in worship, and she remained constantly close to her Lord. Every moment of her life held softness, every breath carried simplicity, and deep within her heart lived the remembrance of Allah, hidden yet alive. As the years passed and she entered the age of youth, her spiritual depth increased even more. She distanced herself from gatherings and crowds because her heart belonged entirely to Allah. She would often retreat to quiet places to worship, spending long hours in prayer and supplication. The affairs of the world meant nothing to her, and she found comfort whenever she called upon her Lord's name. One day, while she was deeply engrossed in worship, the winds felt unusually still, and the atmosphere grew tranquil, as if silence itself had descended. In that stillness, a faint fear stirred in her heart. She sensed the presence of someone nearby. When she raised her gaze, she saw a man standing before her. Maryam A.S. was startled and frightened, thinking a stranger had approached her in her seclusion. But the figure was not an ordinary man. It was an angel sent by Allah with a message that would change the course of history. The angel reassured her, telling her he was a messenger from her Lord and that he had come bearing great news. For a moment, Maryam's heart seemed to pause, for she could never have imagined that such an immense test was destined for her. The angel declared that Allah had purified her, chosen her among all the women of the world, and decreed for her a pure son. Maryam A.S. was struck with astonishment. Her body trembled at the revelation. She wondered how such a thing could be possible when she had never been touched by any man, nor had she ever been married. Her heart filled with confusion and awe, but once again the angel comforted her, reminding her that nothing is impossible for Allah. He creates whatever He wills, however He wills, and this was to be a miraculous sign chosen specifically for her. Although her fear had not fully settled, her faith lifted her and held her firm. She placed her complete trust in her Lord. Yet her heart carried both pain and peace. Pain at the thought of what people would say, for their accusations would be the deepest wound she had ever known, and peace because she knew Allah was with her. Time began to pass, and within her she felt the stirring of a new life, a life both mysterious and miraculous. This feeling was at times overwhelming and at times comforting. She spoke to her Lord in whispers only her heart could utter, always aware that He was watching over her. Gradually, she withdrew even more from people so no one would see her condition, and so she could follow the command of Allah without interruption. Her body grew weaker as the days passed, yet the weight upon her soul grew heavier. Often she felt as though she could not bear such a trial, but within her heart a voice always rose, reminding her that those whom Allah chooses are never abandoned. One day, when her pain became nearly unbearable, she made her way to a dry date palm tree. Her tears would not stop. She felt utterly alone. Her heart was shattering, and she wondered how she would ever endure such agony. Her soul cried out for help, her trembling lips whispering the same plea again and again. "My Lord, help me. My Lord, strengthen me. My Lord, give me the power to bear this pain." When her sorrow reached its deepest point, the mercy of Allah descended upon her like a banner of comfort. A soothing voice called out to her, telling her not to grieve, for her Lord had caused a stream of fresh water to flow beneath her. She was commanded to shake the trunk of the date tree, and fresh, ripe dates would fall for her to eat. Though her hands were weak, she obeyed, and the dates began to fall. She ate them and drank from the pure spring, and suddenly strength returned to her body. Her pain eased, and her heart found relief. Then, in that sacred moment between struggle and divine mercy, she gave birth to her pure son, Isa A.S. Thus, a miracle entered the world, one that would stand as a sign of guidance for all of humanity until the end of time. Chapter 2. Maryam A.S. returned, and the trial of her people. Maryam A.S. sat quietly for a long time, holding her pure son Isa A.S. close to her chest. Her heart carried both peace and fear at the same time. She knew that Allah had entrusted her with the greatest responsibility, but she also understood that her people would never leave her in peace. They would question her, accuse her, mock her, and try to disgrace her. Many times she felt that it would be easier if she never returned to her people at all. But the command of Allah was above everything. Her heart kept reminding her that whatever was to happen, Allah would protect her, stand with her, and grant her a strength no human could possess. When she looked at her newborn son Isa A.S., she saw a divine light in him, as if every challenge she feared would be resolved through this blessed child. She held him even closer and whispered in her heart, "My Lord, you have tested me, but you alone will give me the strength to endure." Often she wondered how she would face her people, what she would say, how she would defend herself, and how many wounds she would receive from their harsh words. But then she remembered that Allah had commanded her not to speak to anyone, and that if they questioned her, she should only point toward her child. She trusted her Lord completely. With that faith, she lifted her child in her arms and began walking back toward her people. Each step was heavy yet filled with determination. Her body was weak, but the light of Allah strengthened her soul. As she approached the area of her people, she immediately sensed that her trial was about to begin. Faces turned toward her, some filled with shock, some burning with anger. A few people blocked her path and stared at her harshly. They said, "Maryam, what have you done? You were always known for your purity. You were devoted to worship. You feared Allah. Then how could this happen?" Their voices were filled with bitterness and accusation. Some women stepped forward and tried to humiliate her, while some men began whispering and spreading rumors about her. Maryam A.S. stood silently, her heart breaking, but she remembered Allah's command. People kept bombarding her with questions, repeating accusations, but she gave no answer. She simply raised her hand and pointed toward her baby. The crowd grew even more confused. They scoffed, saying, "What kind of reply is this? Do you expect a newborn infant to speak on your behalf?" Their mockery grew louder, and their suspicion spread like poison through their words. They waited, their breath held, wondering what Maryam would do next. Again, she offered no words, only the same gesture toward her son. Her patience, her faith, and her obedience stood firm exactly as Allah had instructed. The crowd laughed at her. They said, "This is absurd. How can a baby who cannot even drink properly speak to us or defend you?" Their mockery rose higher, and their arrogance filled the air. But when their insults reached their height, silence suddenly fell upon them like a descending calm. A serene, luminous peace spread around them. And then the infant Isa A.S. lifted his head, and from his pure, miraculous tongue emerged the words that shook the entire nation. He said, "Indeed, I am a servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. He has made me blessed wherever I may be. He has commanded me to pray and to give charity. He has commanded me to be obedient to my mother. He has not made me arrogant or rebellious. He has created me pure." The words of this newborn child struck the people like lightning. They could not believe what they were witnessing. A baby, still in swaddling clothes, speaking with clarity and divine authority. Their eyes widened, their breath froze, their arrogance shattered, and the weight of their accusations fell back upon their own hearts. For the first time, they realized they were standing before a miracle unlike anything they had ever seen. They were stunned, unable to speak, unable to move. Never in their lives had such a sign appeared before them, and they felt with certainty that Allah had indeed chosen Maryam A.S. and honored her. Those who had mocked her moments earlier now stood speechless. The tongues that hurled accusations were silent. A stillness spread through the crowd as their shame grew deeper. Maryam A.S. looked down at her blessed child, tears filling her eyes, her heart filled with relief and gratitude. She thanked her Lord silently, for he had protected her from disgrace, elevated her honor, and made her son a miracle before the world. Thus, Maryam's return to her people became her greatest test, and Allah upheld her with honor at every step, turning her trial into a sign of His power and mercy. Chapter 3. The childhood and miracles of Isa appeared before the world as a great miracle even in his earliest childhood. Every movement he made glowed with the light of Allah. Though he was only an innocent infant, his life already carried signs of a divine power far beyond human understanding. Maryam A.S. held him in her arms, still overwhelmed by the words that had come from the lips of her newborn child, words that shook the entire nation. When Isa A.S. spoke for the first time, he declared the purity of his mother and said, "Indeed, I am the servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. He has commanded me to pray, to give charity, and to be obedient to my mother." Hearing these miraculous words, the people were stunned. Their eyes widened, their breath stopped, and a wave of fear and amazement washed over their hearts. They could not comprehend how a child still nursing at his mother's breast could speak with such clarity, wisdom, and authority. But the divine light in the voice of Isa A.S. erased every doubt, and the mockery and hatred of the people vanished instantly. Maryam A.S. watched this miracle unfold, and her heart filled with gratitude toward Allah. A gentle smile spread across her face, and her soul found profound peace. The first words of Isa A.S. became a sign of guidance and a lesson for the entire nation. People finally understood that the power of Allah is above every limitation, that whatever He wills, He brings into existence effortlessly. In his earliest days, Isa A.S. had already shown his divine mission. His words carried a wisdom far beyond his age, and people saw in him a light that softened even the hardest of hearts. His childhood was not merely a period of innocence, it was a living miracle. Every moment of his life radiated the mercy of Allah. The way he moved, the way he looked, the silence he kept, and the rare words he spoke, all of it carried a message for humanity. There was an unexplainable peace in his smile, and whoever looked at him felt their heart calm. His presence alone reminded people of the greatness of their Creator. Maryam A.S. held him close at all times, aware that her child was not like other children. He was a sign, a symbol, a miracle destined to guide people. As Isa A.S. grew, even as a small child, he displayed signs of divine wisdom and understanding. People who visited Maryam A.S. could sense the extraordinary presence around him. Some would sit in silence, unable to take their eyes off his radiant face. Others felt a strange awe, as if the child could see through their hearts. Though he did not speak often, whenever he opened his lips, his words carried a depth that no ordinary child could possess. His early life transformed the hearts of many who witnessed it. Those who had doubted him found themselves humbled and afraid to question the power of Allah again. His childhood became the foundation upon which his future miracles would later be recognized. People remembered how he spoke in the cradle, how his words defended the honor of his mother, how the truth shone from him like a rising sun. These memories lived in the minds of the people for years, whispered in gatherings, repeated in homes, and preserved as signs of Allah's mercy. Even those who did not yet fully believe felt something stir within them, a curiosity, a fear, a respect that would only grow stronger as Isa A.S. matured. Maryam A.S. raised him with love and gratitude, fully aware of the divine mission that awaited him. She watched him grow with a heart filled with awe. Every day she felt Allah's blessing surrounding her home. She knew that her child carried a wisdom and purity that no earthly force could touch. She treated every moment with him as an amanah, a trust from Allah. She protected him, prayed for him, and taught him humility and gratitude. People often came to see Isa A.S., even when he was still a child. They did not always say it aloud, but their hearts testified that they were witnessing something sacred. A few would whisper in disbelief, saying, "This is the child who spoke from the cradle." Others would watch him silently, unable to comprehend the aura of peace and purity that surrounded him. His presence seemed to remove doubts from the hearts of the sincere and expose hypocrisy in the hearts of the insincere. His childhood became a mirror that revealed truth. In every stage of his early life, Isa A.S. carried the marks of prophethood. His innocence was not ordinary innocence. It was a pure reflection of divine mercy. His silence was not ordinary silence. It was the calm before a storm of miracles that would one day unfold. His smiles were like rays of comfort for those who were troubled, and even the smallest gestures he made felt meaningful to those who witnessed them. People saw in him a reminder of heaven, a sign of purity in a corrupted world. Maryam A.S. accepted her role with complete submission. She never questioned Allah's plan. Instead, she embraced every hardship and every blessing with patience and trust. She knew her child was destined for greatness, and she felt honored to be chosen as his mother. Her steps were guided by divine protection, and her heart remained firm in faith. Isa A.S., in his earliest years, became a living testament to Allah's limitless power. His childhood miracles stood as guidance and proof for the entire nation, and these moments would remain as signs for all generations until the end of time. His innocence and his miracles together carried a message for all humanity, a message of faith, patience, and the realization that Allah's will is beyond human comprehension. And his childhood was not just a childhood. It was one of the greatest manifestations of Allah's power and mercy. Chapter 4. The Miracle and Message of Isa. The childhood miracles of Isa A.S. had now become visible before the entire community. Every movement of his small hands reflected the radiant light of Allah's power, and people were left astonished by the depth hidden within his words. His innocence and the glow on his blessed face filled every heart with the light of faith. Maryam A.S. stood holding her child close to her chest, her heart filled with both peace and a trembling sense of responsibility. Isa A.S., even with his small and delicate lips, had begun conveying the message of Allah to the people. And with every word he spoke, the light of guidance continued to spread in their hearts. His words were not those of an ordinary child. They were the signs of Allah's might, spoken through a miracle that left the people unable to comprehend how a newborn could speak with such depth and wisdom. Within his speech was a brilliance of knowledge that shook the hearts of those who listened. Isa A.S. remained obedient to his mother Maryam A.S., standing by her side through every hardship and filling her soul with peace through his miraculous presence. His miracles became lessons for the people, reminders of Allah's boundless power, signs that He alone controls all things and that He is forever with His servants. In his early childhood, Isa A.S. delivered a message of patience, steadfastness, and guidance. His words filled the people with faith and certainty, teaching them that divine truth can emerge from the most unexpected of moments. As people witnessed his innocence and the glow of divine light within him, their respect and amazement increased. Their hearts began to tremble with the love and fear of Allah. The miracles of Isa A.S. were not just childhood marvels. They were among the greatest signs from Allah, unfolding before an entire nation. Those who watched him were unable to understand how such a young child could manifest miracles of such magnitude. His every movement displayed patience, his every glance carried purity, and his every smile revealed the light of the most merciful. Maryam A.S. stood by him with unwavering trust in Allah. She felt the divine mercy and protection surrounding her at every step. People approached her, asking how all of this was possible, but the miracles of Isa A.S. left no room for doubt. His divinely gifted speech erased every suspicion and strengthened the truth in people's hearts. The light of guidance continued to grow as Isa A.S. spoke, even in his cradle, and the community began to understand that Allah can manifest His power in whatever way He wills. These early miracles of Isa A.S. became signs of guidance and wisdom for generations. His innocence combined with Allah's light made every gesture of his a reflection of divine purpose. People began to realize that when Allah intends something to happen, no force on earth can prevent it. and every miracle stands as proof that he is always near his servants. The childhood moments of Isa A.S. became combined with the steadfastness of Maryam A.S., turning into a message of patience for the entire nation. Their journey, filled with tests, miracles, and unwavering trust in Allah, became a timeless lesson for all humanity. His words and actions, even as a child, became a symbol of guidance that would last until the end of time. Through him, hearts learned the meaning of purity, trust, and divine wisdom. The miracles of Isa A.S. were not ordinary marvels meant to amaze people. They were a demonstration of Allah's immeasurable mercy. His message revived the faith of those who were lost, guiding them back to the path of truth. People who witnessed his blessed face felt a calmness entering their souls, a reminder that Allah sends his signs in the most perfect forms, at the most perfect times. Isa A.S. continued to speak words that were filled with deep truth, and even the most stubborn hearts softened before the purity of his message. Maryam A.S. watched her child grow, carrying the weight of his miraculous birth and mission with dignity and trust in Allah. Every miracle he showed reaffirmed her heart, strengthening her belief that Allah's promise never fails. People from all around came to witness the child, whose voice carried the wisdom of the heavens. They saw in him the proof that Allah's power has no limits, and that his guidance continues to reach humanity generation after generation. The childhood of Isa A.S., illuminated by miracles and wisdom, became a reflection of divine truth. His presence brought peace to those in sorrow, certainty to those in doubt, and strength to those who feared. These moments were not merely stories. They were the greatest lessons of patience, trust, and unwavering faith. Isa A.S. and Maryam A.S. became the symbols of spiritual purity, perseverance, and divine mercy for all the ages to come. Their journey stands as a reminder that Allah's signs appear in countless forms, and his message of guidance reaches every heart willing to listen. The miracles granted to Isa A.S. and the steadfastness of Maryam A.S. will continue to serve as a beacon of light, teaching humanity that divine truth always prevails. Every word spoken by Isa A.S., every miracle he performed, and every moment of his blessed life became a testament to Allah's supremacy. And these signs will remain sources of guidance and patience until the day of judgment. Chapter 5, Last Moral End Story. The message of Isa A.S. and the lesson of divine guidance after the miraculous events of his infancy. Isa A.S. began to deliver his message openly before the people. His words carried the pure light of guidance, and every sentence that flowed from his blessed tongue filled hearts with faith, certainty, and tranquility. He invited the people to the oneness of Allah, to justice, to righteousness, and to actions that brought peace and purity to the soul. His message was painted with the colors of patience, gratitude, and sincere prayer. Everyone who heard him speak remained astonished, for his innocence and the radiance of his face made it clear that these were not the words of an ordinary child. These were the words sent by Allah, delivered through his chosen servant. The influence of Isa A.S.'s message began to spread across the community. People understood that Allah is all-powerful, capable of bringing about anything he wills, no matter how impossible it may appear to the human eye. Isa A.S. continued to stand by his mother Maryam A.S., facing every challenge with unwavering faith and complete reliance upon Allah. Together, they showed the people that truth must always be upheld, and that one must distance oneself from oppression, hatred, and injustice. Through his words, Isa A.S. taught that a believer's path is one of honesty, fairness, humility, and compassion. Divine light shone through the wisdom in his message. Hearts that had once been burdened with confusion and doubt began to fill with faith. His message awakened in people a new sense of patience, clarity, and spiritual awareness. Those who listened closely realized that there could be no doubt in the miracles and in the truth of the message Isa A.S. brought. His words and miracles did not merely impress people. they transformed them. They revived their faith and strengthened their certainty that Allah's plan is perfect in every age. The message and miracles of Isa A.S. ignited in the hearts of the people a deep love for truth and an ever-growing light of faith. His actions, words, and teachings became profound lessons for everyone who witnessed them. Many who had once lived in heedlessness began trying to implement his teachings in their everyday lives. His message was not merely a call, it was the greatest lesson in patience, guidance, sincerity, and trust in Allah. With Maryam A.S. beside him at every step, Isa A.S. continued to follow the command of Allah with absolute devotion. Their journey and struggles became a model of spiritual strength and reliance upon divine mercy. His teachings placed the entire nation on the path of patience and guidance. The people had never seen a miracle so immense, so clear, and so transformative. His innocence, his purity, his wisdom, and his miraculous signs erased every doubt that had ever existed in the hearts of his opponents. His message contained blessings, mercy, and light that penetrated even the hardest of hearts. The message and miracles of Isa A.S. became, for every era of humanity, signs of Allah's power, His mercy, and His everlasting guidance. His words and actions will remain proofs and lessons until the end of time. His message expressed the beauty of humanity and the boundless mercy of Allah. Through his miracles and through the clarity of his teachings, people felt the light of faith grow stronger in their hearts. Every step he took with Maryam A.S. reflected the protection and blessing of Allah, and this became one of the greatest examples of divine care. People understood through him that Allah's command is always right, always perfect, and always filled with wisdom. The teachings and miracles of Isa A.S. left behind a message of eternal guidance and patience for all of humanity. His words, his actions, and the blessings surrounding his life were not mere stories. They were the greatest lessons ever sent for the guidance of mankind. These moments from his blessed life serve as a reminder across time that Allah's power is limitless, and that his mercy surrounds his chosen servants. The life of Isa A.S. and the unwavering trust of Maryam A.S. became symbols of divine truth and spiritual resilience. Together, they taught the world that guidance is not bound by age, time, or circumstance. A child could speak wisdom by the will of Allah. A mother could face the storms of society with the shield of divine protection. And a message could flourish even in the face of rejection, simply because its source was the Lord of the heavens and earth. Every miracle Isa A.S. performed, every word he delivered, and every moment of his mission became a beacon of light for people seeking clarity. His teachings taught humanity that patience is not weakness, it is strength, that guidance is not merely knowledge, it is transformation, and that the true path is the path illuminated by Allah's mercy. Isa A.S.'s message continues to echo across generations, carrying the same purity, the same sincerity, and the same power it carried in his childhood. It reminds humanity that divine truth is unchanging, that Allah's promises never fail, and that every miracle is a sign calling people back to faith, humility, and gratitude. Thus, the message of Isa A.S. stands firm throughout the ages, a message of guidance, patience, mercy, and unwavering faith in Allah. His life remains a proof, his words remain a lesson, and his miracles remain signs for all people until the day of judgment.